So welcome to King's Crown Podcast, the official podcast for the Faculty of Dentistry at King's College London. Join us on our second episode of the podcast with your hosts Sana, J1 and Nicole. So today joining us we have a very special guest, Dr Nicola Gore.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Would you mind telling us a bit about yourself and your journey into dentistry so far?
Hi Sana, J1 and Nicole. Thank you for asking me to come. I really feel very privileged to be here. My journey, I qualified from Guy's Hospital. So coming back to Guy's Hospital feels like a dream and all the memories come back. So I qualified in 1993. So a long time ago. And this is my 29th year post qualifying. It's been a big journey and every day I'm still learning. I can't tell you if you say that, do you feel you're there? I'm going to say no, because every day there's new challenges and there's new things. So I can't tell you that I'm the best now, because we'll never be the best. So if the moment you think you're the best is the moment you will fail. So never think that, and that's my motto. Since qualifying, I've done lots of various DCT jobs and of course the foundation training, which was quite important. And then subsequently I ended up traveling to Australia, worked there for a year, which I recommend to everybody because it just builds you. And then after that, I did my master's degree in Queen Mary, and then I felt empowered enough to take the big step of practice ownership, and that's when I opened up my first practice. And it wasn't a practice that had set up patients; it was a practice that I set up myself from scratch. So we call it a squat practice. So my daughter was just born. She was probably about 6 months old. So you guys must have been that age as well. And I just set up my first practice, which was a mixed NHS private practice from squat. And thereafter, then my journey to practice ownership, becoming an educational supervisor, and all that started.
It's very humble of you. I'm pretty sure so many of the dentists would say that you are there, that you are top notch. And you've written so many books, you have your own clinic. So for us, at least, as newbies into dentistry, you are like the idol that we want to be like.
It makes me feel really good that you guys say that. But I feel very privileged when people tell me that. I feel like there's a lot of blessings on me. But I still feel I've got so much to learn. And even at my age, I just feel like I need to keep learning and keep progressing. But I feel like I need to give now. You get to a stage where you've done your practice, you've done your masters, you've attended loads of courses, various courses abroad within UK, but you feel now it's time, you've gathered all that, you want to give it out. And now I just feel I'm at that sort of peak where I feel like I can give out what I have, and I don't want to just keep it to myself. And that's how I started the book, just to give out my information in the book before I forget it and before it becomes diluted. Do you know what I mean? Because you have a lot of information in your head, but other information takes over, and then the other information gets diluted. So for instance, you the closest exam I can to you guys is your A-levels, but if I was to tell you now to sit the A-level paper again, very diluted, isn't it? Because a lot of other things have taken over. So our information, as we get higher and higher in our field, is the same. So the smaller information gets diluted, and I didn't want that to happen. I wanted that information to be retained somewhere, and that's why I wrote the book with my co-author Rabia.
Great. Yeah. Plus, on top of that, you were also doing TFT training. So it seems like you're just an educator right now. Educator and a dentist at the same time.
Sorry, it's J1. J1. That's a nice name, J1. J1. The thing is that you will get to a point like for instance, if somebody came and asked you about, I don't know, chemistry A-level, even though you don't know it, but you would want to teach them. Because you say, well, look, I did it. Let me see if I can remember it. I'll help you. So it gets to that point where people come to you and they want you to help them. And you just feel you have to. You don't want to let people down. You don't want to think because like Nicola Gore, postgraduates, this, that. I don't want people to feel that I'm not approachable. I want to be approachable, especially for people your age. to support you guys, because you've been through COVID and you've been through lockdown, and you've had to study on PowerPoints and Zooms and things like that. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You haven't managed to connect with anyone and make those connections. And I just think you guys, your generation is actually a very bright generation, because despite that, you guys are doing so well. Yeah, so at your age, myself, I wouldn't have been able to approach somebody who's 30 years qualified. I would have been too shy. Seriously, I would have. So I'm very impressed with you guys, that you guys do this. It's amazing, and I think you should do it more often. I just think it's amazing that you're doing it. So well done.
And I think I can speak on a lot of people, because I come from a background where I don't have that many dentists in my family or connections. So people like you, I just feel so grateful that there's people that are willing to mentor in that same way.
Yeah.
So today's topic, as I mentioned, is change. I just wanted to ask, what is one change that you feel that has defined who you are now, has made you sort of into the person that you are now?
I think one thing that changed me was so I was born here in UK, but when I was 4, we moved back to Iran, where my mom is from. My dad's Indian, but my mom's Iranian. So we moved to Iran, where life was a lot better, weather was better. So we moved there, and then I kept coming back and forth, but I did my main studying in Iran. So when I came here, I had a big language barrier, and it was really difficult. So I managed to do my A-levels in 1 year, managed to get to Guy's Hospital. And when I got here, I found it very difficult to engage with people, because it was because I had come from a different culture. Iran at the time had the revolution. There was a lot of reservations about women doing different things. So I just didn't feel like I could engage with anyone. I wasn't brought up the same way. I didn't play hockey. I didn't play, things like that. So I didn't really fit in. And I struggled. I really struggled the first and second year. And there weren't many Iranians then. You can imagine 30 years ago, there was only a handful, like maybe my year didn't have any Iranians. The year above maybe had 2. But now I know there's a lot of Iranian and Asian people. Exactly, yeah. So because I struggled through that, that was my tipping point. And I promised myself that when I get to a point in my career where I feel like I have the power to change, I will help. And I have, like, over the past 5 years, I've reached that point where now I have that power that I can give, because I struggled a lot in the first 2 years. After that, the third year got easier, my language got better, I got a firmer understanding of what I was doing, because you won't believe it, I went into the interview thinking, okay, for dentistry, and the guy asked me, why do you think you'll make a good dentist? And I'm like, because I like carpentry. I don't even know anything about carpentry. Because those days the interviews were live. You have a big panel. It wasn't like now.
Okay.
So it was like MMIs. It was like different. And also, I thought to myself, medicine, dentistry, well, only 32 teeth versus the whole body, it's easier. So this is like the image of dentistry I had in my head when I went into dental school, as like not having anyone in my family being a dentist, mainly being doctors. So it was a bit tricky, but I think that's what made the change in my whole life, to be able now to sit here and be able to be discussing this. So that was a good question.
Great. So moving from Iran to the UK. It's quite similar to my story, because I'm also not from the UK.
Yeah.
I'm Korean, brought up in Singapore and Korea, so I was like moving around when I was younger.
Yeah.
And kind of similar to you, I came here for uni.
Okay.
So for me, it was a lot of different aspects living alone, coming into uni as an international student. I'm pretty sure we shared the same struggles. But compared to back then, because I don't know, maybe because I was brought up in international schools, because I already knew some people in London. It was in some ways, I think that was a little change that happened over the time.
I think now, world is smaller. Do you agree with me?
I definitely
you connect, you might be on Instagram and connect to somebody who's in Timbuktu. Do you know what I mean? So, world is a smaller place. Like the lady we just bumped into, Zainab, I've known her from Instagram. It's just like, I would have never met her otherwise. So, but we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have social media, we didn't have internet when I first came here. So it was very difficult. But the group of people who I met initially, 29 years ago when I came to UK, or more, 35 years ago. When did I come to UK? 35 years ago when I came to UK, we're still firm friends.
Oh,
we are really good friends, and really we go on holiday together, our kids play together, so we've got formed that friendship because we are family. Because we are family now, and I just it was a big struggle, but that struggle made me. And remember, most Iranians my age, we've been through revolution, we've been through Iran-Iraq war. It hasn't been easy studying when bombs are falling on your head, or 6 months of school, a bit like COVID, but not knowing what's going to happen to the country because it was a revolution. So things like that I think make you stronger. And when my kids worried about COVID and lockdown, and I'm like, this is nothing. You're living in a warm house, you've got internet, you've got food. If you don't go out, you're not going to get sick. Vaccination's going to come out. So just see it through. It's nothing. And when I was telling them about my life, throughout the revolution and Iran-Iraq war, even though I came from a very good family and everything, I was supported, but it was scary, even for my parents. So, you have to put everything into perspective, really, in that way. But your journey's been interesting as well, and you're going to tell that to your kids.
It would, but again, like what you're experiencing, I'll think whatever my children are experiencing is nothing. Like tough love.
Exactly. It's true. It is true.
I do feel like, though, for some people, it's hard to think about other people that are struggling more, because I feel like with some people they have that mindset where what you're struggling with is relative. So for students that might think, oh well, even if it was harder for you, I'm still struggling, what advice would you give to them to if they don't respond well to the it's harder for some people?
To be honest, I appreciate that, because I know for all of us at one point in time our struggles are hard. And for me, my personality, I might cope with it, but your personality, you may not cope with it. So I think we shouldn't belittle people's hindrances and people's weaknesses. We should actually support them. So say if you open up to me and say, Dr. Gore, I'm really don't feel good about, for instance, studying dentistry. I shouldn't say, but you'll make a good dentist and you should do it. I did it. I shouldn't do that. I should come up to you and say, well, tell me, what is it that's bothering you? What is it? What is it? Is it the course? Is it the tutor? Is it the setup? Is it the environment? And that way we will develop a relationship and you will be open to me. But if I tell you, no, I did it. Look, I couldn't speak English, but I managed to get through. But that's not going to make you feel better, because your weakness lies in a different way. So we have to learn to support each other. So for instance, you can go to Sana and say, Sana, I've come here like a month and I have no idea about this in England. What's a good restaurant? And Sana's not going to say, well, tough luck. Sana's going to say, come, this weekend I'm going to show you all the good restaurants in London and take you around. So this is the way we have to try and make this change, and that's one of the things I worry about Instagram, is that, and I worry about my own Instagram as well. Sometimes I just think maybe I post too much or whatever, maybe I just need to hold back. I tell my children to look at it. I said, come on, audit my Instagram. What do you think? Do you think it's too much? Is it was this good? Was this bad? Because at the end of the day, the things we do, we don't want to belittle people. We're here on this planet for a reason. All of us. Okay? And we will all find out. You will find out maybe sooner or later. You maybe find out in 10 years. Maybe why you're here. Yeah? So that's why we cannot belittle anyone. And we cannot look at people in a way that, she doesn't fit in, or he doesn't fit in, or I'm in a group of people, oh, I'm fine. Can't do that. Or like look at Instagram and say, oh, this weekend everyone's had fun and I've been at home. You can't do that. And those people on Instagram or social media or Twitter, they post all the stuff which they want to be seen, not the struggles they have. So I think, from the beginning, always tell yourself, I'm here for a reason. And that way you will feel better, that you're here for a reason. Okay, let me find my reason. Let me see what my reason is. And you go through your studies, you better yourself, you build yourself up, and you will eventually know what your reason is. It could be the next prime minister, you don't know. Isn't it?
Yeah. Have you found your reason?
I have.
And
yeah,
giving back.
So my reason is that I feel I'm here to connect, but not to people my age. I'm here to connect to your age, and I'm here to tell you guys that's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Have faith. I'm going to say that, it is a struggle, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just have your head down and do it. But also, I'm here to form associations which can do that. To help pave your way to an easier life, and but I haven't found those pathways yet, but I am slowly. So like, for instance, I formed the British Iranian Dental Association called BIDA, and through that I'm engaging with a lot of younger students and younger graduates, which I find is really empowering, and I really enjoy it. But they also, whenever I have an event, I say bring a +1. It could be a non-Iranian, it doesn't matter. And then I'll try, if I can afford it, to pay for the event myself, and to engage people, to connect people. And I find through our association a lot of younger Iranian students, like there were people stuck in Scotland, there were people stuck in Plymouth, they've all engaged with each other and found each other. So it's been a good thing. But I think hopefully I'm going to find more ways to do this. But, with working 5 days clinically, it's a bit tricky, but eventually. But with you guys, like you guys doing this is the best way.
This is also another way for you to connect with the King's student
Exactly.
and dental students.
And that's why I never say no. If somebody asks me something, I'll try and make time to do it.
Thank you.
Because I just think it's very important, because I easily could say no, because I was running late, and it was like, but then I think to myself, well, you know what, if I don't do it, another person does it, and it never will happen.
And it's definitely appreciated, like you're often at the conversation.
That's so sweet. I hope all good.
You're really empowering all the dental students.
So good. I hope so. I do try. I'm trying, but I think we need more people to do this. Like, we need more people to support you guys. I'm sure your tutors support you, but there's so many of you. Hundreds. I don't know how big your year is, but
you're understaffed.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I know. And I think then that's why. But you know what? Once you finish uni, world is your oyster. It's not like I had to, when I qualified, you had to do a master's degree to be able to do well, to be able to teach. But now you can do various little courses, adds up to a diploma, which is great. So you don't have to sit and study. You do practical work. So it does get easier. So just get through these 5 years, hold each other's hands, support each other, get through it. Exactly, get through it, and you will do it. It's hard. I know, even my daughter, she's studying pharmacy. She says, Mom, it's very hard. She says it's really hard. She's struggling because it's like no one understands your age. And you guys struggle a lot. I think I don't know. There's so much going on in your heads. And whenever, I'll message someone at 2 a.m. and they're awake. And I'm like, are you serious? You should be sleeping. You're still growing. I bet you if I messaged you, son, at 2, you'd be awake. So you guys don't sleep. You don't rest. Your head is always in the phone.
Always thinking.
Yeah, always thinking. But, we need to all make a change.
Right.
Okay, we need to make a change all together, come up with ideas to make a change. Because you're not going to stay a second-year dental student. Yeah, in 3-4 years, you'll be qualified. You'll be a dentist.
Hopefully, I'll be back here being interviewed.
You will be. I'm sure you
back
will
to the
be.
community.
I'm sure you will be. You've got a lot to offer. I'm sure you will be. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm running late. So
you should go.
Yeah, but it was nice
to meet
meeting
you. Take care.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And if you need anything, you can message me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
So I also had a question, and it was because we've been talking about struggles a lot. Was there ever a change in your life that you regret, or that negatively impacted you, or like your development, for example? And would you change it, or would you?
I think one of the main things which I struggled was coming to UK. And why I struggled was because, imagine up to the age of 17, 18, you build your friends, you've got your friends, you're close, you've got your family, aunties, uncles, and then all of a sudden you come here to study and you don't have anyone. I mean, I'm blessed. I have my sisters, two younger sisters, and we were like close and together and still are. And my dad had to come and start from fresh. He was 50 when he came, had to start all over again, and became a consultant he was a professor in Iran, but he became a consultant director of orthopedics in Guy's and St. Thomas's. And then my mom didn't have a visa. She had to go to another country to get a visa. So it was all a struggle. Maybe if we hadn't come here, maybe, I don't know, we would have had a better life. I don't know. It's very difficult. But that was one thing which when I think back, I think maybe we should have stayed back home. But then, and that was a big change for us. But then now thinking back, I would have done the same for my children. If I was living in a country with revolution, with war, with uncertainty, with no solidarity, I would have probably picked up my kids that, look, you were born in England, let's all go back. So, so that was one thing. The other thing, I don't think there's anything else I regret. From every change in my life, I developed. Yeah. And that's what we should all do. Yeah. So failure is just one step to success. So I just don't think that you should look at change in a bad way. You should look at it in a good way. Initially, I looked at it in a bad way. But now, as I've got older, I realized, no, it was a good thing. And, I've developed into a bigger person. So my advice is that never feel change is bad.
I think it's really admirable, like, to move to a whole other country at that age as well. Yeah. It takes a certain type of person to think, it could go wrong or it could go right. And it just shows that you need to try before you give up.
Yeah,
it's true. The amount that you've gone through and still managed to achieve is amazing, and inspiring.
Some people get handed everything and still don't make it. So I think it's just amazing.
I think one of the most important thing is my parents. My parents, and I'm trying to be like them, but I'm nowhere near it. My parents gave me a lot of positivity, a lot of strength to all of us, and you can do it, guys. You can achieve anything you want.
I think that's what you're doing now, though.
Yeah, and that's, I think, it builds up in your subconscious mind, and that's why you shouldn't beat yourself up about things. You shouldn't feel like I can't do this. Yeah. You can do it.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we could all do with a tutor like you, because I was literally talking to some of my friends literally last week, because from second year to third year there's been a huge jump, and I feel like a lot of us feel like we can't do it, and I was talking about this in another podcast episode we did as well, that the imposter syndrome is just it's huge, and it's just almost every week I'm thinking I'm not cut out for this, I can't do this, but then it's like so
what makes you go forward? So you
go forward. Well,
what is it that is pushing you to go forward?
It's probably going to sound kind of bad, but it's kind of like what Sana was talking about. I'm not from an affluent background, and growing up from council estate, a lot of family members who don't like to go to the dentist, or a lot of family members who were like, once you graduate, I can just come to you, or just I don't have much to fall back on, or it feels like I don't have much to fall back on.
So that's pushing you forward.
Yeah, so a lot of different things, but also just wanting to prove to myself that I can do it as well, and stuff like that. I don't know if that made any sense.
That's the main thing. We always say, what is going to help me go forward? You are. you are pushing yourself forward. Sana is pushing herself because you want to prove to yourself, not to your family, not to your neighbors, not to your, it's you who wants to push yourself forward. Yeah. And I think your biggest motivation is yourself. Always our biggest motivation is ourselves. And we need to actually always think to ourselves, now, okay, I'm driving on this motorway. I know I'm going the wrong way. I feel it is the wrong way, but can I do a U-turn? No, I cannot do a U-turn here. I have to drive probably about another 10 miles before I get to a roundabout to turn and go back onto my... But in that 10 miles you're driving, you might actually think, oh, there might be a route where I could take and will still take me to the same destination or to my same point I need to get to. And I think a career is the same thing. You are put by grace of God, by destiny, whatever you want to believe in, you are put here. Okay, it hasn't happened just because it happened. Okay, you could have been doing art, you could have been doing philosophy, so it's happened that you are here. Okay, so now you're going at this speed forward and you're hitting barriers and you think, I can't do this, I need to go back. Yeah, but you can't now. There's no going back. Okay, so keep going, but find yourself a route which is going to get you to that destination, and that a route will come when you're patient. Okay, when you are patient, it will happen. But if you're impatient, I think every morning you get up and say, I hate this course, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is true about patience as well, because so we've just started doing crown preps, and as I'm sure you can imagine, crown prep is a very stressful course.
I know. Yeah.
And then I will be in a session and I'll get told, like, this is like really bad, like there's issues with this and that, and I'll be like, why aren't I getting this? And then I'll have to remember, this is the 4th session.
Yeah. Exactly. You're not born a dentist, are you? Are you born a dentist? No.
I wish.
Are you? No, I haven't, surely. But I'll tell you this story, and I've told this many times ago. People listening may have heard it. But in my second year, we had to do like loads of tests on phantom head, be able to go into clinic. So we do crown test, amalgam, just like things you do now. We were in groups, and then after that you pass it. Like we had a gold test, we had a crown test to be able to go into clinic. So my crown preps are awful. Like I'd remove so much to that, like on the plastic tooth, that it looks like it's gone into the pulp. Yeah.
Okay.
So every time I showed my demonstrator, and this is, I was in the second year your age, he would go, this is terrible. And then one day he laughed at it. Yeah. And it really upset me because I'm like really struggling. I didn't even get it.
Someone laughs at my work.
Honestly.
Tutors that are like that. And it's like, well, I'm learning.
Yeah, but then he pulled me into his office. And he said, Nicola, I just wanted to say that you're not cut out for dental school because your crown preps are really bad. We've had a panel discussion. I'm like, really? And you don't have the manual dexterity to be a good dentist? And I'm like, don't even know what manual dexterity means, but obviously it's something to do with dentistry. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not leaving dentistry. Went back home and I spoke to my father. My father said, listen, manual dexterity means the power of using your hands, hand and brain coordination, and you are going to get it. You are going to get it. This is the first time you're cutting something so intricate. What do they expect from an 18, 19-year-old? So, and he cut out an article from his BMJ. He gave it to me. I took it to Mr. Croyson. I said, manual dexterity is something that you gain.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're born with. And I said, I am staying here. And when I told my group about this, my group said, no way you're leaving. They helped me so much, honestly. I remember I was group C3, and they helped me. So as we had B3, C3, D3 going up. And they helped me so much. But the ironic thing was that when I did my master's degree and I went into Eastman to do my thesis exam, this was in year 2000, guess who was my examiner? The same chap who told me that I'm not good enough. Yeah. And he sat there opposite me, and he said, right, anything he asked me, he couldn't touch me, because by that time I was so into my thesis. I knew what I was doing, so into dentistry. I'd worked abroad, I had done DCT, I had gained all the confidence. So I thought, you know what, today you're not going to touch me. because I am not the same 19-year-old. And now I've written a book. I've got into universities, and I don't know where he is, but if you're listening, yeah. But you know what, Mr. Croisive, you did the right thing for me, because if he hadn't done that, hadn't made me cry, hadn't told me I'm not good enough, I probably wouldn't be here, and I probably wouldn't feel, I wouldn't feel the same way I am. So actually, always take criticism in a good way. Don't feel every criticism is bad. It's not bad. If I criticize you for like your crown prep or your margin, just say, okay, tell me how I can improve it, rather than say, oh my God, I'm going to be such a terrible dentist. Yeah. So don't belittle yourself. Okay, it's a weakness. If I tell you to run the marathon, you can't run the marathon now. You need to prepare for it, no? Yeah. But once you prepare for it and you run it, no one's going to touch you, because you're prepared, you're confident. But if I tell you now, sorry, there's no way you can run the marathon, you're going to sit and cry. You're going to say, I'm going to show you, Dr. Gore, because I can. Yeah. So always take negative, but we need to be strong enough to do that. We need to be strong enough. And unfortunately, not all of us are strong enough to do that. Some people in my year left. As they were told that they were good enough, they left. They were a group of 100. Then it came down to 80. And then when we had a reunion, now there's only 40 people working. Yeah? So, there's not going to be not that many people who are going to be strong enough, but we can build that strength from now. Yeah.
I think even if I didn't know any of your achievements, just speaking to you can tell that you've achieved a lot. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of other women in dental schools. You are actually an inspiration, because I think a lot of the people that we bring in, they're men. A lot of people we talk to, they're men. Like, I don't know if you know, but there's so many girls in dental school, but we've never had
girls, isn't it?
We've never had a female dental president ever.
Really?
And I think, like, speaking to you, I think it shows to not only myself and Nicole, but like just in general, everyone, that we can do it. So what advice would you give to your younger self if you had to do your journey again?
I would say enjoy life, number one. Okay, it's very important, because we get bogged down with silly things, criticism, negativity, and then we forget to that we are human. It's our life. Enjoy it. So have those moments where you have to study, but have that window where you spend time with your parents, with your family, with your nearest, dearest, travel, I did that, but I was very focused on my education during my studies. But one good thing was I was staying at home. I was living at home, and I felt like the first time I ever moved out was when I did my foundation training. And that was a big step for me, because I had to go to Portsmouth to do my foundation. I didn't find a job in London, so I had to go to Portsmouth. So that was a big step, but my parents supported me all the way, found me a flat and, all that. And then after that, I did all the DCT jobs all over, and that sort of made me stronger as well. But I would say don't listen to negativity from anyone, including yourselves. Okay, block it. Have moments where you exercise. My daughter said don't tell that, but I think it's very important to exercise. Very, very important, because you really saw the endorphins. You don't have to go to the gym. You can go for a walk. You can hire those bikes and cycle around London. Simple things. Spend time to laugh. We forget to laugh. How many times have you laughed from the bottom of your heart, like a big laugh? Have you done that recently? We haven't. We don't. To the point that you have tears coming down your face. Laugh. It's not that serious. We'll all get to that point. Maybe we'll fail one year, come back again, study again. It doesn't matter. We will all get there. It's not serious. Serious is when you have illnesses, when you have cancer, when you have things, that are not curable or reversible. That is serious. Okay, studying, things like that. These are things we chose to do, and we should enjoy it. Okay, and these are the things I would have said to my younger self. But I would say that when I was younger, I did enjoy. I did go out a lot. I had a group of friends which we stuck to, but there were times where I had to be serious and study, of course. But I think I did enjoy myself during the time. And that's why I tell everyone, even my children, enjoy. You chose to be a dentist. Why should your parents suffer if you don't want to see them? Do you know what I mean? Spend time with them, even if it's half a day on a Saturday. Go and see them. But when you are with them, be with them. Put your phone away. Put everything away. Be with them. Cook for them. I don't know, take them out for dinner or whatever, And those are the little things which we forget to do, and we should. And those are the things I would tell my younger self. So keep away from negativity. Keep away from being negative to yourself. And also don't be among people who you feel bring you down. Be among people who you feel bring you up, and even if they're not those people, they might be in years above or below, or maybe not even in dental school. Yeah. So those are the things I would say. And don't take life so seriously. It's not, honestly, I'll tell you now, I'm sitting here, it's not that serious. It's not that you will get where you need to get. Someone else listening to this podcast might think, what is she talking about? But this is my experience. Disclaimer, my experience. Yeah. So it's someone else might have a totally different view. But I know that you guys will become dentists. Or whether you choose this path to be miserable and be a dentist, or to be happy, enjoy it. So when you qualify, you have things to tell your kids. I did this when I went skiing. I went a trip to Italy. We slept in, the traveler's lodge because we didn't have money, things like that. Do things, plan things. Mm-hmm. It's very important. You will eventually.
But speaking of positive changes, is there a change that you hope to make in the near future in your career or personal life?
Yeah, I mean, I go to a lot of meetings. I go to a lot of places where there's a lot of people. I find it very unfriendly. And I find that if you don't belong there, people don't sort of come and engage with you. So I'd like to change that. I'd like to change that concept, that if you are you've been coming to something for a long time as someone's new, actually those are the people you need to work on. So if I've gone to, say, a meeting on something and I'm going there every year and Sana is her first time, instead of me going, okay, I'll go to my friends and say, hello, how are you? But I'll go to Sana. I say, hi, Sana, how did you come here? So nice to have you. Welcome. This will make you feel like you want to come back again. Yeah. But if you go there and no one engages with you, you're going to feel like, oh my God, I don't want to come back here anymore. So I think that's one change I want to make. The other change is people's mindset. I think it's very important. We need to change, all of us need to change our mindset.
Yeah.
And we need to be more positive about ourselves, love ourselves. Mm-hmm. We need to believe in ourselves. And I think that's an important thing, that with podcasts, it's actually a good idea to make that, but we need to know how to make that change in mindset. How are we going to, if I'm very negative about everything, but how do I change it? And for me, what has worked is being in finding people who I think they're like me. They've got my mindset, and we move as a group. Do you know what I mean? So we go to places and we connect. We go to different places, and that way we form a big group and community. Yeah. And that way your mindset is infectious. Everybody will want to be like that. Yeah. So I would suggest for you guys that the main thing is connecting with people in your year, connecting with people in the years above, and then trying to make a community that you all have positive mindset. So say if you don't understand Perio, a concept like BSB guideline, you go to Sana. Sana, did you get it?
Really? Before the meeting, I didn't understand something, and then J1 and Nicola taught me how to do it.
Good. It's in the book, by the way. I'm not trying to sell the book, but it is in the book. So, things like that. Mm-hmm. Sharing is caring. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So cool. I love that. That's really good. Is there any, so obviously, you've been practicing for a while,
mm-hmm.
So you've seen dentistry change throughout the years. Is there anything that you don't agree with in terms of how dentistry has, let's say, developed?
I mean, it's a lot of politics, unfortunately, and things are very related to finance and, Department of Health and money and NHS. But one thing that I always tell my trainees, my foundation trainees, is that don't work for money. Okay, don't ever work for money. The moment you start thinking money, things will go wrong. You will make mistakes. You need to think about the patient. You've sworn to the Hippocratic Oath when you actually finish your degree, and you don't want you to be guided by money. And that's one thing never happened to me. That's why I'm not rich. but I can put my head on the pillow and I can sleep with a clear conscience that whatever I did well. And I just feel under the NHS, maybe because people need to gain so many thousands of UDAs, then people may make mistakes or do so, not intentionally, but because the system is like that. Yeah. So I think eventually NHS is really good. NHS is really fabulous because you will learn so much, and not just that, you will reach out to people who actually need that. So it's good to work under the NHS, and people who qualify, they do foundation training, then they want to do private. I think that's wrong.
It's really nice to hear, because I've always been saying that I want to give back to the public, and I want to work in the NHS. But I'm constantly hearing oh, don't work in the NHS. Oh, it's horrible in the NHS. But
no,
it's nice to hear.
It's not different. Horrible. Yeah. Anything I learned from the NHS. Honestly, I'm telling you, everything I learned. Okay, I made mistakes. I'm human, but everything I learned, the speed to work, the treatment planning, thinking on your feet, all that was NHS. And also people respecting and saying thank you so much for doing this, and they're exempt and they didn't pay. And I think we have a duty to, after qualifying, to work a couple of years on the NHS, not just to give back what we got, but also to learn more. Working in a private practice is not easy. It's a lot of pressure. Patients expect a certain standard from you. If you don't achieve that, there'll be a lot of negligence, litigation. Can you cope with that at your age of 22, 23? I don't see why you should. Okay, so the money will come, I promise you, but get those first few years. I worked under I still do NHS because I'm a foundation dentist, but not as many UDAs. But I did work under the NHS for a long time, and that way I gained strength out of it, gain strength out of talking to people. How do I address this? How do I treatment plan? Stuck in a difficult situation, root canals, bridge preps, dentures. You do all sorts of disciplinary work. When you're private, it's mainly cosmetic. People I know, they've qualified 1 year and they're doing Invisalign. Do you even know occlusion?
But also, speaking of patient expectations and money and stuff, it's really interesting because on ICC clinic, which a lot of students will know about, is where we're on individual floors in the hospital and we treat patients. So me and my partner had a tricky situation with a patient, and then we were talking to a tutor afterwards, and he said to me, go on Google and type in dentist R, and then read me out the drop down list, and it was dentists are greedy, dentists are a racket, dentists are this, that, and the other. So, and he said, see, this is what you'll have to deal with when you're out practicing. So what advice would you have?
So, I've never gone into that drop down list. I will Google it. I mean, look, how you come across people is how you portray yourself. Okay. First of all, I think we have a duty to ourselves to look our best. Okay. So we have to look. We're a dentist, and we have to. I'm not saying put makeup on. I'm not saying, but when you go to work, you've got to look the part. Okay. Because when you look the part, people will take you seriously. Okay. So if I was to go to work with my hair not done and in pajamas, and then people are going to say, do I really want her? She doesn't even look after herself. Do I really want her to do my teeth? So firstly, make yourself powerful. Make yourself feel good about yourself, okay? So that when you step out of your house, you feel good about yourself. That's one thing. If you feel good about yourself, I guarantee you, no one is going to turn around and tell you anything. Okay, why? because you breathe, you show that confidence, okay? People are not going to touch you, okay? So people are not going to come and say, Nicole, you're a greedy dentist, okay? And also smile at people. Smile. We wear a mask and smile with our eyes, okay? Show them affection. You know, how are you doing today? Are you okay? Are you like good? Thank you for coming to our practice, okay? I tell them most of the time, so how did you find our practice? So through recommendation. Thank you so much for coming to our practice, because they've come to my practice. I haven't dragged them. I'm lucky that they've come. Or like when you're running late on a patient, I've told this to my foundation, don't go and say, sorry, I'm running late. Say, thank you for waiting. Thank you for waiting. You know, appreciate them, because it's mutual respect, isn't it? You appreciate them, they will appreciate you back. Okay? Don't look at these drop down lists. You are not in that list. You are not in that list. I mean, you can be if you want, but you are not. You are not. So I think one of the key things which we are not taught in dental school, do you know what it is?
Social skills.
Social skills coming good. Exactly. You are not taught it. Nobody teaches us that we have to have good mannerism, not manners and manners, hello, how are you? But social engaging, talking. If I was just to talk to you like this, how would you feel? Left out. Yeah. So we have to learn, and you learn it by looking. You've got so lucky about YouTube, you've got this. Learn these things, practice on each other. When I started working for a company called Boots, they were amazing. I learned so much from them. I learned about compliance. I learned about how to manage your practice. I learned about protocols and a lot of clinical dentistry. But the first thing they took us on was on a communication course. Yeah. And they made us, it was a whole weekend. That was the only communication course I did. You stand up, you face people, and you talk. Yeah. And this is very good. This is really good, because this will teach you how to communicate and how to bring out the best in people. And I think this is something which is missing in the curriculum every dental school. And I think, you know, the crown preps and the amalgam, the class 2, the dovetail, the, class 1, the dentures, jaw edges, all this you will learn. But what you need to practice is the art of communication. Okay? Because then that drop-down list won't exist. It's only with people who don't, or like you don't match, like if your patient's shouting at you, oh, Nicole, why did you do this horrible denture? It doesn't even stay on. And if you just say, well, I've done my best, instead of, I can't do anymore. But if you say, I do appreciate it, I know it must be so hard to wear a denture, I'm really sorry. Let me speak to somebody to see how I can rectify it. Instantly your patient will feel better. The patient's going to say, oh my God, she's on my side. Yeah? If the patient comes and says the filling you did broke the other day, I'm not happy with it, say, I'm really sorry. Instead of justifying yourself and say, I put the best filling in and this, I say, I'm really sorry, I don't know what happened. I really want to help you. Let me today put a temporary filling in, and then I'm going to look into it to see maybe I need to improve the material or my technique and do a better one for you. And that way the patient will feel better, and it's not all about money that they don't want to pay again. It's about you making them feel good. They're worried, they've paid, they've taken time off work, they've come to you, and treatment's failing. Yeah. So, I think it all boils down to communication, Nicole.
But then also, one of the things was about the greediness. It was, you see how we're moving towards like being minimally invasive and stuff. So rather than just like taking out the tooth and like, oh, you could go for this treatment or this treatment, which is costing more and more, do you think that might contribute to, even though we know it's, oh, we're just trying to preserve the tooth, to the patient it might be, oh, my dentist is just trying to get more money out of me.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
Again, it's communication. Okay? Because if you talk to your patient and say, look, you need a root canal, you've got, you have two options. Either you save the tooth or you take it out. If you take it out, then you have a gap, then I have to fill the gap, a denture, bridge, or an implant. If you keep the tooth, then I have to do a root canal treatment, but after root canal studies have shown you need a crown, and these are your crown options, and what would you like me to do? I can give you an NHS crown, which is this. I can give you a private crown, which is this. And I have no control over the fees, because these are the fees set by the practice. NHS is set by NHS, and I'm here just to do you a service. And most of the time when when you talk to your patients like that, they will buy your product. They will buy, if they can afford it, they will pay for private if they can't. So don't be scared to offer them good dentistry because you're scared that they might not buy it. Okay, don't be scared of that. And the thing is, it's their tooth. At the end of the day, I tell my trainees this, and they feel a lot better. Like, oh my God, Dr. Gore, I exposed the problem. Okay, but you weren't the one who caused decay in their teeth, correct? You're not responsible for the decay. It's a carious exposure, so it's not your fault. Yeah? So exposing the pulp through caries, okay, but if you've exposed it because your crown pulp's been very deep, that's a different story. So your technique needs rectifying, and that's not good. And we need to work and get better. But if it's because of something you haven't done, why are you taking it to heart? Okay, and they have to then pay to get it treated. England is one of the most cheapest places for dentistry, by the way. America, everywhere else is quite expensive. And people need dental insurance, they can't afford it. So don't talk about money first, talk about all the options, even draw it, write it, whatever you want. I draw a lot of diagrams for the patients, and I show them like photos of cases which I've done, like, build a portfolio for yourself. Maybe now you can't, or when you become a foundation trainee, get a good camera, get a good set of cheek retractors, mirrors, things like that, to be able to produce good work and show the patients, and then you can have a portfolio. You can flick through, so this is a denture I made, this is a veneer, this is a crown, this is a root canal, and you have all that in these digital albums or even on your phone, and you can show them. So it's important to have the skills and the backup to be able to prove to the patient that you can deliver the work. Yeah. So when you qualify, if someone asks you, what do you want as a present? What do you say? I want a camera. I want a camera. I want a dental camera with good twin flashes. I want a set of cheek retractors and mirrors and all that. Okay? Because that's the main thing. That's the main thing.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So qualify soon so you can get the camera. Because I know in dental school you don't really take that many photos, isn't it?
They can, but it's a whole process, like concern and forms and computing.
Yeah. You still, of course, in general practice need to have consent.
Yeah.
Because you can't just shove a mirror in someone's mouth and I'm taking a picture by
Smile.
Yeah, exactly. So you will need to do it, and you just say that it's for your records. I will not put it on any social media platform unless you allow me to. If you are happy with it, and if they say, yeah, not my face, say, of course, your face will go, it's just your mouth. And that way you get verbal and written consent. So everything has to be consented. But of course, in general practice, it's easier because everything is smaller. You don't have to go from floor to floor, and it's hard.
Yeah.
That answers your question.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good.
I think that's it then for today's podcast. Thank you so much, Dr. Gore, for coming.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Nicole, and also your friend who had to leave earlier.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me and being persistent and texting me. It's lovely to be here and to meet you both, and all three of you.
And thank you very much to all of our listeners. Thank you.